con usted, con su familia. Aquí estamos en vivo tomando sus preguntas como siempre. Si tiene preguntas de migración, penal, accidentes, puede ponerlo aquí en los comentarios y con gusto yo lo puedo contestar si puedo. Muchas veces también tiene miedo a poner su información en público. Completamente entiendo. Le puede mandar un mensaje privado o nos marca los textos en el número abajo. También ahí nos podemos recibir e intentar contestar sus preguntas si podemos. Vamos a empezar en inglés y después vamos a ir a español. All right, folks, you know the drill. You got questions, criminal, immigration, personal injury, drop them in the comment section and I will do my best to answer. Now we have some exciting news at the end of the term. So the calendar year is how we most think of our progress and look at how good have we done last year, what are we going to do next year. Well, immigration, their numbers are a little bit off. They don't go by the calendar year. But they did just finish off the reporting for the year, so we have some interesting statistics. And if I were to ask you, who deported more people in their first year? President Biden or ex-President Orange Guy? What would you say, right? Would you say, oh, I'm so mad at Biden, I can't believe every time he says he was going to do immigration reform, he hasn't done anything. He's probably deporting people left and right too, just like Obama did, the deporter in chief. Well, we got the answer for you here today. We got this information right here telling us about the numbers. And we got a good question coming. I'll get to that question in just a moment. Let me go over here. Here's what we have. ICE report shows sharp drop in deportation, immigration arrest under Biden. All right, so the first year of deportations, we are seeing significantly less numbers overall in the amount of deportations. Right. We see here during 2021 fiscal year, which ended September 30th, ICE recorded 59,000 deportations, down from 185,884 in 2020. Right, but here's something that the administration wants you to focus on is the arrest in the interior as well. Right, we had 74,082 during 2021 fiscal year, down from 104,000 during 2020. And we want to see about this one here. The report said ICE arrested 12,025 individuals last year with aggravated felony convictions, nearly double the 2020 total. So the Biden administration has made a very concentrated effort. We're going to go after people with ag felony convictions, try to get them in proceedings, get them in a detention center, and not go after everybody and their mother and their tia and their tío and their nana, right, like Trump was doing. So it's a more targeted enforcement. I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. I've talked to people even today that have a loved one detained under these new guidelines, and it still hurts. It doesn't hurt any less because you categorize it differently. It's still someone who's not at home with their family where they should be. But nonetheless, the numbers have gone down. The total number of deportations increased. The total number of people with aggravated felony convictions. I think most people that study the issue would say, well, if you're going to deport people, you'd probably want to go with someone that had an aggravated felony conviction. It sounds really bad, right? Aggravated felony. Ooh, sounds horrible. Not necessarily every single crime that can get classified. The federal definition of ag felony is something you would think, oh yeah, that should be termed an aggravated felony. Most people who have a conviction for aggravated felony would tell you, nothing aggravated about what I did something wrong. There's nothing extraordinary about it that should make me punished any more than somebody else with a conviction. All right, so that is the news on the deportations under Biden. Are they still happening? Yes. Are we winning more cases than we won under Trump? Absolutely. Just yesterday, we won 3 removal cases. People, again, in removal proceedings, the government saying, I want to remove you from the country. I want to deport you. I want you to go back to your country of origin. Yesterday we won 3 of those cases, terminated or admin closed, that we probably wouldn't have won a year ago. Be completely honest with you. I'll be the first guy to come up here and say, I am so upset, I am so pissed off that Biden can't do anything on immigration reform. I'll tell you that, right? I'll be honest about it. But I'll also get up here and tell you, you know what, as an immigration attorney, there are some things that I'm happy with. I'm happy that admin closure came back. I'm happy that there seems to be prosecutorial discretion on a case-by-case basis, and immigration is actually taking serious our arguments for the most part, right? You got to give credit where credit is due. At the same point, I have to sit back and recognize, well, I've been a part of this deportation machine of this racist and classist legal justice system that we have for so long. I get happy over such small incremental victories that in the grand scope of things really shouldn't be justice. We shouldn't categorize as getting admin closure back as being some social justice great victory that we've had. But as an immigration attorney, it's something that's been put back into our toolbox that we've been able to use to keep families together. It was awesome yesterday to see someone put, oh yeah, you guys are attorneys that keep families together. And someone else comment, yes, I can testify to that, right? And both of them don't know each other, and both of them don't know the shared struggle, but they both know the shared victory of getting that loved one back. So that was an awesome moment for me to see. All right, questions, and keep coming with your questions. Miss Claudia here has a question. Claudia, thanks for tuning in. Do you have any information regarding DACA college students and possible scholarships for them? DACA college students and possible scholarships for them. Yes. So if you live here in Arizona, I remember a couple years back, Grand Canyon University, which by mistake, I accidentally I had my niece in town for a soccer tournament. I thought my brother said the tournament was at Grand Canyon University. Ends up it was at Arizona Christian University. So there I was walking around Grand Canyon University. It is a beautiful campus. It's a beautiful campus. I haven't been there in who knows how many decades. I went and walked through the campus and I'm just like, wow, this is here in the middle of Phoenix. Well, if I was a DACA recipient in Arizona and looking to continue my college education, I would take GCU very seriously. I'm a diehard Sun Devil, Arizona State University. I'm all about it. Love my Sun Devils. Teach at the law school at Arizona State University. Love every sports team ASU. But I'm saying they had a scholarship. I don't know if it's still in existence, but it's certainly worth looking into, right? The Parsons Scholarship. Bob Parsons, the former owner of GoDaddy, now the owner of PXG Golf Clubs, sponsored by, brought to you by. If they want to chip in, I'll take some of those clubs. Anyways, they set up a scholarship for DACA recipients to go to school tuition free. Chin drops, right? Tuition free. You had to be enrolled full time. I think even, I don't remember if they were doing on campus living or not, but it was enrolled full time. So I would certainly go look to that. Grand Canyon University, the Parsons Scholarship, right? If it's not Arizona, I don't remember if they were limiting it to residents of Arizona or not, but certainly check out that one first. And then I think the Dream Zone, the Dream Center at Arizona State University, I'd also reach out to them and see. They should have a list of scholarships on their website. Last but not least, she's been a great guest on here before, and she's doing great work right now on advanced parole for DACA recipients, Karina Ruiz. Karina Ruiz, we can reach out to her, put you in contact with her, and I'm sure through their organization, ADAC, the Arizona Dream Act Coalition, they should be able to get you a list of scholarships. And also another local hero that we have here, Reina Montoya with Aliento. I'm sure Aliento keeps a nice little list of DACA scholarships. So happy to drop those in the comments when we're done here, or you can look them up, Karina Ruiz with Arizona Dream Act Coalition, or Reina Montoya with Aliento, 2 awesome organizations, all right? Now, another question we got here, Milton, thank you, Milton. Is it justifiable for U.S. INS to detain a person who has been in LPR for over 20 years on a warrant based on illegal reentry. All right. So, number one, we got to be as legally correct as I can, and I hate being an attorney sometimes because it forces me to think literally. USINS is no longer in existence, Immigration Naturalization Services. That changed after September 11th, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And when we're talking about an illegal reentry, they would be technically detained by the United States Marshals. The U.S. Marshals brought charges by the U.S. Attorney's Office for an illegal reentry. It's hard for me to see how an LPR stands for Legal Permanent Resident, would be held on an illegal reentry charge, right, over 20 years on a warrant. Here's the thing about a warrant. A warrant never expires. So a warrant will essentially trump any statute of limitation arguments. If the government puts out a warrant for your arrest and 10 years go by and the statute of limitations on a felony in Arizona is 7 years, you think, okay, I'm good now. No, the warrant essentially stops the clock on that. So the time limit, 20 years is a long time, but I have seen cases where an extended amount of time has gone by, more than the statute of limitations, because the warrant, that warrant could still be held valid to start the proceedings. The thing that throws me off here, Milton, is legal permanent resident, right? Someone that's a legal permanent resident, they've already been screened by immigration. They've already been found to be admissible to the country, and either found to have a legal entry or be 245I or parole in place, or they want a waiver, and they've been admitted into the country. So it's hard for me to see how it's justifiable for the U.S. Attorney's Office to bring charges on an illegal entry that happened, I'm guessing it happened before they became LPR status, right? I would present an argument to the government, a motion to dismiss on the grounds that they should have been made aware of any previous illegal entries or re-entries when they interviewed the person for their LPR status, right? It happened to Milton back in 2005. So I think it's just ridiculous to think that the U.S. government would bring charges against someone who had LPR status for an illegal entry. I would say, hey, Judge, motion to dismiss. The United States government should have been made aware of any illegal entries when they interviewed him and screened him for legal permanent resident status. Therefore, a statute of limitations has run. They didn't move fast enough on this, so the case should be dismissed. But your case sounds extremely, extremely frustrating. I'm sorry to hear what you've gone through. And another example of what the U.S. government will put people through, that anxiety and stress of, hey, we interviewed you, we screened you, we gave you an approval, but now we're going to change our mind and come back and mess with you some more. So it happened to him. Most of you guys didn't see that happen to him in 2005. He still has the NTA, right? And for those of us watching that aren't too familiar with the difference in terms between criminal and immigration, an NTA is a notice to appear. That is the U.S. Immigration, ICE, saying we want to start removal proceedings against you. There's been a lot of litigation recently related to NTAs based on the fact that at the bottom of the NTA, it's supposed to tell you when your court hearing is going to be, what time, and what location. Now, what immigration was doing for years and years and years, ICE was doing, is that they were giving people the NTA saying, for all these reasons we think you're removable from the country, and your court hearing is going to be at a date to be set, a time to be set, and giving it to people. Well, there's some great cases that came out, Perea being the main one in the U.S. Supreme Court, that said, no, immigration, you're not adhering to the statute. You are obligated to give people the date and time of their removal hearing for this order to be valid, this NTA to be valid. So there's been some movement in being able to get cases reopened even, simply if the NTA was issued in such a manner, and especially if there was an in absentia removal order, you didn't show up to court because they didn't tell you the date and time. They later mailed it to you, but it wasn't your fault. They should have given it to you at that very first court hearing. That's what's called an NTA, all right? Anybody else have questions, comments, concerns? Please throw them down below. It's almost time to get going in Espanol, but still always happy to take any questions, regardless of the language you put them down there. Another new immigration news that I wanted to share with people, I think it's important that people know about, is that TPS has also been expanded for Afghanistan, right? Biden administration extends immigration relief to Afghans in the U.S. So we saw this happening last week, 2 weeks ago for Ukraine, now happening for Afghanistan. And you're seeing a lot of pushback here from progressives saying, hey, Biden administration, you promised us immigration reform, you haven't given it to us. Here's some other things that you can do, right? So we're seeing these results on these slow things trickle in. It's going to help a lot of people that are here. Again, TPS is not a path to legal residency or to citizenship, but it's a protection, work permit, and promise to not be deported during that time period. So great to see the Biden administration making some positive moves, but still, again, do I think they're using their power, their leverage, and everything that they have enough to get immigration reform? No, I do not. I do not, right? Of course, my pleasure. Please just call me Ray or Abogado Ray if you so choose, or Ray is just fine too. Appreciate you tuning in. One other thing I wanted to share with folks before we switch over to Inglés, Español, disculpas. Si estás disponible, if you are available this Saturday, our good friend, the Democrat Raquel Teron, running for AZ State Senate. And, you know, she's been a champion of the people for many, many years, even before she was a legislator, and she continues to be at the forefront of fighting for our community. So March 26, 11:30 a.m., Mariposa Park. Be there or be square. Have a good time, knock on some doors, help Raquel get reelected. Next Saturday, próximo sábado, dice la doctora Maldonado, right? So not this Saturday, sorry. You can still watch your Sweet 16 games. You don't have to worry being out there on the street on Saturday. It's the next Saturday after that. All right, ladies and gents. Questions, comments, concerns, please throw them down below. We'll happily do my best to answer them. Now we're going to switch over to Español. Okay. ¿Qué tal, comunidad? Gracias por lo que están esperando el español. Lo que yo quería informar a la comunidad más importante el día de hoy es las nuevas estadísticas. Y usted dice, ¿por qué me significa algo estadísticas? Porque yo sí sé que muchos de ustedes van a dormir cada noche y ustedes piensan que si algo va a pasar a mí. Si mañana yo voy en mi carro, me para la policía y se habla ICE, si yo no voy a regresar con mis niños. Lo que yo quiero decir es que puede dormir con un poco más tranquilidad, que ya no está Trump en oficina y ya es Biden. Los números ya han mostrado lo que nosotros los abogados hemos visto el último año con el presidente Biden, y es el siguiente. El siguiente dice que las deportaciones bajo Biden lo han bajado. ¿Okay? Oficialmente ya tenemos los números y podemos explicar a ustedes que aquí nos está diciendo que durante 2021 ICE deportó 59,000, todavía mucho, demasiado, 59,011 personas, 59,011 deportaciones más que debía. Pero eso es bajando de 185,000 en 2020, ¿verdad? So, de 185,000 a 59,000 bajo Biden. Y Biden está enfocando más, quiero ver este número aquí abajo también, para que yo ponga correcto aquí. El reporte dice que ICE ha arrestado 12,025 personas el último año con convicciones de felonías agravados, casi doble el número de 2020. So aquí me está diciendo claramente que ICE bajo Biden, bajo Mayorkas, están diciendo, nosotros queremos enfocar nuestros recursos más en las personas que tienen convicciones de felonías agravados. Y yo como abogado penalista también no voy a venir aquí y decirle, ay, qué malos todos con felonías agravados. No. La última cosa que voy a decir. Muchas personas que tienen convicciones que dice felonías agravados no hicieron algo muy mal. No hicieron algo muy mal de normal que debe decirle, mire, usted tiene felonía agravado, está prohibido de cualquier beneficio en su caso de migración, pero sí existe, ¿verdad? Y la administración de Biden están diciendo, vamos a enfocar en esas personas que tienen esas convicciones, que otra vez todavía para mí es triste. Yo sí he hablado hoy con personas que tienen su familia detenido con la alegación de un felonía agravado y el trabajo de abogado es entrar a decirle, ustedes dicen que es felonía agravado, pero yo pienso que no es felonía agravado y déjenme decirle, señora juez, por qué yo estoy correcto y el gobierno es incorrecto. De todos modos, la administración de Biden está enfocando en esas personas en vez de las personas que nada más están aquí sin papeles. Por eso, para mí, era tan importante a venir aquí y explicar eso. No para decirle que ya pues tenemos reforma y podemos arreglar o podemos pedir un permiso de trabajo, pero sí hemos visto con verdad que personas bajo Trump que lo estaban en las manos de la policía y lo entregan a ICE, que iba a estar muy triste, toda la familia llorando, y nosotros buscaban la manera por fianza, en vez de mandarlo a Lawyer Florence, lo están dejando ir. No está dando fechas de cortes también. Entonces, yo quiero que ustedes viven con un poco más tranquilidad. Muy fácil para mí para decir, soy ciudadano americano, nació aquí, nunca he tenido el miedo de una persona sin documentos tiene aquí viviendo en Estados Unidos. Pero yo como abogado sí puedo decirle que los números han bajado y ya ahí se está menos enfocando en gente que no tiene récord criminal, gente que nada más está trabajando aquí. De todos modos es mal que existe ICE, de todos modos es mal porque lo quieren deportar 59,000, 60,000 personas, pero de todos modos yo quería que ustedes ojalá vivan un poco más con tranquilidad, que ha cambiado las prioridades de ICE y no estamos viendo eso en los números, ¿ok? Muchísimas gracias. Hello, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. You guys got any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to drop them down below. If you're not watching on the live, that's fine. I still come back and I check the questions later. And if I can answer, I'll do my best. And people think, you're crazy, man. Why do you do that? Take up so much of your time. Because I went to law school to help. Crazy concept. I'm going to go get an education and come back and try to help people, right? So if I can help people, and if I have the time to answer your question, I'm going to do it as best as I can. I don't always know all the answers. Sometimes I got to research it, you know, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help as much as we can. Saludos a Marta. Ojalá todo está bien con usted. Saludos a la abogada Juliana. No sé si nos está viendo de Utah, está haciendo skiing, viviendo la vida buena, o dónde está ella, pero saludos a la abogada Juliana también. Una abogada excelente que está haciendo muchas cosas buenas en la comunidad. ¿Verdad? That's right, Milton. That's what we're here for, man. We're here to help. We're here to serve. We're here to, in life. I'm talking about being an attorney or whatever else profession you have. If you have the ability, if you have knowledge, if you have a skill, and you can put it to use to help humanity, then do it. You know, we got a very short time here. If we can be of service to one another, if we can help one another, make one another's lives better, that's what we shoot for. That's what we're here for. All right. Ay, perdón, como en mi casa, cuando digamos, ya es tiempo de hablar español para que los niños aprendan, me olvidó que estaba hablando en español y regresé a inglés, ¿verdad? Pregunta, how long is the wait for asylum, EAD in immigration court? So esa pregunta está en inglés, voy a contestarlo en inglés, después voy a español. This is like one of the hardest questions to answer related to work permits because there's this dumb thing called the clock, right? The asylum clock. So if you really want to pound your head into a table and remind yourself of the trigonometry class in high school, of Algebra 2 or whatever it is that frustrated you with math, Google asylum clock work permit and try to figure out when the clock runs, when it doesn't run, when someone's in immigration court, right? And really the theory behind it is the Trump administration tried to even stall it even more so that people applying for asylum wouldn't be able to get a work permit while they were here in the country waiting for their court hearings. So all work permits right now are taking way much longer than they should. It's ridiculous. Even a renewal, right? Even a renewal work permit takes so much time. It's like, you already granted the work permit once before. run the biometrics, check if there's anything new. If not, then just issue the card again. But all kinds of rumors that they were behind in the actual cards, and the place that made the cards couldn't make them fast enough and all this stuff. But long story short, it's impossible for me to say how long the wait is without knowing the clock issue, right? Application was received on March 4th. Again, USCIS is the one that issues work permits, right? But USCIS still has to check the clock to make sure they can issue it. So hopefully you just get an approval notice in the mail and not a letter that says, by our calculation, your clock is still at X amount of days, right? So hopefully you get some good news on that. Let's see if we can try this. When was your last immigration court hearing, and when is your individual hearing set for? If you happen to know that. If not, we can take that offline and try to figure it out as well. All right. And anytime, folks, you want to know the processing time of an application, there's a website, right? You just put in USCIS case processing times. Case status, if you have your own number, well, I guess it would help if I would share this, right? If you have your own case number, you can put that in, but this is a different one I'm talking about. This one here is processing times. You just Google here, USCIS case processing times. This will take you over here to this page. This is the actual USCIS page. You select over here the form, all right? And then when you get the form up there, this gives you the giant list here of all the immigration forms that exist. And I-765 is the immigration form. Then you also got to know the field service center, right? So let's just pick one at random here. Let's see Texas and see what old Texas says for work permits. And here they're saying 2 to 13 months. Again, there's also different kinds, right? So the 2 to 3 months is an approved asylum application. Wow, okay, you win your asylum case, they're going to turn that bad boy around pretty fast. And the other ones here, H4, HBs, L2 visas, they're taking a little bit longer. Different processing centers will process different kind of applications. Let's go over here with our friends in California and see how they're doing. Are you working out there in California or not? Here we got 7.5 to 14.5 months. Again, the 821D C33, why does it say see below to learn more? They're trying to confuse us even more. Look at this one, 20 to 21.5 months based on a pending 485 adjustment. Wow, just a few years ago, those were 4 to 6 months to get turned around. Now look how long it's taken to get those out. That's crazy. And let's see over here, another processing center for you. If we were to go down to Vermont, what we'd get in Vermont, 6.5 to 11 months for I-821D, 3 months to 3.5 months. H4, TPS, and oh, look, TPS turned out pretty quick, 1.5 to 7.5. All other applications is 6 to 10.5 months, right? So this is the USCIS webpage where it can tell you, if you're bored, you can just go there and have fun and play around with that, all right? All right, do you think they will be saying anything about DACA applicants that are on hold soon? I certainly hope so. We were just talking about this in the office the other day. I think it's long overdue for a federal lawsuit, either intervening in one of the currently still open DACA-related cases or a new one altogether, because the fact that they're just sitting on them and not adjudicating is absolutely ridiculous. So I think we will see some movement in there fairly soon. It's just, it doesn't make any sense, right? And what I'm talking about, sorry, I hope we're talking about the same thing. I'm talking about people who were previously in the DACA program, waited more than a year to renew, and then have to send off a brand new initial, and with all the supporting documentation. Those cases right now are being held. If you're talking about, so I'm sorry if I'm miscommunicating, if you're talking about those who are eligible for DACA, were never in the program, and mailed them off anyways before the order, that one I'm less confident about, but still hopeful, right? Still hopeful, because the Biden administration said we're going to go through this process. We're going to do the notification. We're going to publish it again. And perhaps at some point, they can say, okay, we've done it right. We complied with the APA this time. Now we're going to do this. As soon as they do that, they'll get hit with another lawsuit. But nonetheless, I think we will see some movement on that in the very near future. All right. All right. And this is Gabriel. Same question. Look at that. One from the YouTube, one from the Facebook, asking about the Biden administration submitted before September 21 for DACA. Again, I think we will see some movement even on this one in the near future, not just because coincidentally two people are asking about it, but because Biden's getting hit so hard for not doing immigration reform. I think at this point the administration is kind of searching for, okay, what kind of things can we do? What kind of victories can we go for that's actually going to get some people happy with us right now? And I do think this issue is one that we'll be seeing, hopefully through the next couple of months, some movement on, something going in the positive direction. All right. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Your questions are awesome. Your questions are appreciated. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions or not watching on live, just drop them down below or give us a call here, 602-910-4040, 602-910-4040. Don't forget to support Raquel Teron in 2 weeks. And I hope your March Madness bracket is still nothing but victories, and that defeat of Kentucky today didn't kill your bracket like it might have done to mine. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.